everyone. My name is Kayana Sessoms, and I am the District 3 Manager from the Mayor's Office. And I'm joined by our District 3 Deputy Manager and Business Liaison and other city departments and partners for this District 3 Development Opportunities virtual event. On behalf of the Mayor and the Department of Neighborhoods, we want to thank all of our presenters and participants today for being on this call. Our intent for this call is to update you on a few of the available city-owned properties, commercial properties in the District 3 area, to learn about the process to purchase those properties, as well as the resources that are available for rehab. While the presentations are taking place, all telephones are automatically muted. At the conclusion of the speaker's presentations, you'll have an opportunity to unmute yourself by pressing *6 or pressing the unmute button to ask your question. Thank you again for joining us today. Now I will welcome our first speaker, Jill Bryant from the Detroit Building Authority, to the call. Welcome, Jill.
Jill, are you with us?
I'm looking for Jill. I don't know if she's on the call yet. So what we could do is maybe start with our resources and go backwards.
Yeah, let's go backwards.
So
Okay.
What I'll do is introduce our District 3 Business Liaison, Abdul Mohit, and he works directly with businesses located in District 3, and he will be introducing some of our community partners that are joined with us today. I'll be able to share with you about the various opportunities and roles that they can play in this process of development. Welcome, Mohit.
Thanks, Kayana. Thank you, everyone, for joining with us today here for the District 3 Development Opportunities meeting, where we are showcasing a few properties on Van Dyke and East 7 Mile Corridor. So my name is Abdul Mohit. I'm the District 3 Business Liaison. Some of you may know me from the attendees here, apart from our resource providers and partners who are here on the call. So as a DBL, my purpose is to create an optimal environment for doing business in Detroit for the entrepreneurs and businesses. We serve as an advocate for business owners in the city of Detroit. So I'm in District 3. I have 6 other colleagues who works in 6 other districts in the city of Detroit. I work with the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation in conjunction with the City of Detroit Mayor's Office. Our job is to help business owners to navigate city resources, including permitting, licensing, plan review, any zoning variances, inspections, anything of that sort, that any issues that you deal with the City of Detroit, we are here to support to navigate the process and smooth and ease the process for you. Also, we work to connect business owners with the resources like today's event. You take it for connecting you with city officials who will talk about properties that are available for you to seek to be able to buy and start your new business or expand your current business. Also, we have resource providers here that we connect you with who will be able to talk more about their programs, technical assistance side, or loan funding and any other funding opportunity that are available. We also connect businesses to talent needs. We have City of Detroit resources that we provide for business support. We also collect data that will help us over time, where we need to put more effort and time and energy to make sure our businesses are growing and also attract new businesses to the City of Detroit. So that's about me a little bit. And you can always find my information on the DEGC website. It's at www.degc.org/district business liaisons. We'll put that link in the chat. And if you have follow-up questions, I'm here throughout the meeting today. Now I'm going to introduce some of our resource partners who are with us today here. First of all, I would like to call Jason Burnett. He's the Senior Vice President for Invest Detroit. Jason, if you are here on the call, please unmute.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jason Barnett with Invest Detroit. If I'm able to, could I briefly share my screen? I just wanted to go through a couple of quick slides pertaining to some of our real estate products as well as our small business products. Am I able to share screen?
Yeah.
Yep. Jason, I can get you sharing your screen right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lily. So I won't be before you long. I just wanted to talk briefly about Invest Detroit. So for those that don't know about us, we're a community development financial institution located in the city of Detroit. And we're broken down into three sectors. And the sectors are real estate, small business / commercial and industrial, as well as our venture team, which deals with high tech, high growth companies throughout the state of Michigan. For real estate and small business purposes, we're located only in the city of Detroit, and we're funding only in the city of Detroit. So I wanted to share a spreadsheet that we typically use for prospective real estate developers as well as small business owners. So with this spreadsheet, it kind of talks about some of the real estate products that we offer. Our funds are able to be used for acquisitions, pre-development, constructions, term loans, and bridge loans. So with that, we're able to help up and coming developers as well as business owners that are looking to acquire property within the city. As you can see, the transactions are typically in the $150,000 to $2.5 million range. And our pricing is between 6% and 8%, fees between 1% and 3%. And typically, we're able to help developers and business owners throughout the city of Detroit, as mentioned, but we also have a focus in the Strategic Neighborhood Fund. The Strategic Neighborhood, which is the fund that was created for 10 neighborhoods in our city. You'll see that on the next slide. And if I scroll down, you'll be able to see the highlighted areas for the strategic neighborhoods. So in the yellow, you'll see the 10 neighborhoods that we're working within. And within those areas, we have various interventions, whether it's streetscape, parks, residential housing, which we're not funding, but we're focusing on the commercial corridor. So trying to create that walkability that Mayor Duggan is always talking about. So from a real estate perspective, this is a great source for those developers looking to expand or start their real estate portfolios. From a small business perspective, wanted to touch on that really quick. We offer loans for existing and startup businesses in the city of Detroit, as well as focusing in with the startups in the SNF or the strategic neighborhood. So with our lending support for these businesses, we're able to help them purchase equipment, furniture, and fixtures. We are also able to allow them to acquire owner-occupied space and renovate that owner-occupied space, as well as tenant improvements. We often work closely with the DEGC through various programs to help their pipeline of small businesses to get into their brick and mortar space. So they're either buying or acquiring, or they're leasing someone else's space. And so we're here to help them open up their business. We love being at ribbon cutting ceremonies with Mayor Duggan and our other ecosystem partners. And our typical transaction size in the small business arena is between 50,000 and 750,000. So as mentioned, we're here to be a support system for the up and coming entrepreneurs as well as the real estate developers. And we do have those lending products available to help them bring their projects to fruition. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Jason. Kiana, should we go back to Jill? I think she's on now.
Sure.
Yes, I'm on.
Hi, Jill.
Hi, good afternoon. How's everyone?
Good.
Wonderful. Do you need screen sharing privileges?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
You're all set, Jill. You can
Thank
share
you.
your screen.
Hi, Lily.
Good afternoon.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jill Bryant. I work for the Detroit Building Authority. The Detroit Building Authority has been managing the city-owned properties, surplus properties, since 2015. We've been doing that in the DBA and upon this agreement, the DBA did an RFP, for management services and transaction services. So we're currently working with Signature Associates and Summit Commercial. It's a joint venture between those two. I have my contact information here. I'm located in Public Safety Headquarters, 1301 3rd Suite 328. However, in lieu of COVID, we are asking that you call or email is the preference. If you do have to come in, please call before you come. The general number for the real estate is 224-4514. My direct number is 628-0904. And my email, as you see, is bryantji@detroitmi.gov. Just wanted to go over with you the process of how you would buy city-owned property. Please be mindful that the application for city-owned property and land bank property is the same. However, there are different processes. So when the applications come in, if the property is identified as city-owned property, we review that. If it comes in as land bank property, the land bank authority reviews that. And so the application can be found at detroitmi.gov/properties. This site includes the application, a list of properties currently being marketed by the city. And I would like you to note that if you don't see a property that you're interested in on the site, please still apply. Again, the properties that you see marketed are the properties that the city has identified as being marketed. There's also a development map. And with this map, you are able to go into this map, you are able to enter an address and see ownership information. Or sometimes people know where the property is, but they don't know the address. If you have an adjacent address, you can click on that, and then that will lead you to the address you're looking for. The site has frequently asked questions as well as the purchasing process. The types of properties available to purchase are commercial, industrial, former school sites, and vacant land. At this time, the city is in the process of identifying residential property. So if there is a house owned by the city is in the process of transferring those properties to the land bank. If you were to have a vacant lot next door to your home in a residential area and it is city owned, the city would transfer that to the land bank to transact. We are starting to get inquiries regarding the Detroit Legacy Certified Program, which is the program that the mayor set up to allow citizens to be part of the marijuana business. Those questions and inquiries and properties and information can be found at detroitmeansbusiness.org/homegrown. We are not accepting applications for any marijuana business at this time. If you are a certified legacy holder, please visit that site when it is time to start accepting applications that will be on that site. And this is the cover page. See, can you see this? Is this better? I'm sorry. Is this better? This is the cover page. So when you go to DetroitMI.gov, this is the first page you will see. Here is the property application. So you click on here. Financing tools information is here, and this gives you information on buying publicly owned property. This is the development map I was referring to. So you click on this development map, you enter the address. If you're interested in city-owned property, it comes up as city-owned. There's a link you can click to take you directly to the application, so you don't have to come out and go back in. There's a link here that will take you directly to the application. This is the list of properties down here for properties the city is currently marketing. And single family homes that the land bank is marketing is on here as well. But again, this is just a portion of the cover page. It has our contact information, and the property application email if you have questions is on there as well. But it's probably better to direct your questions and email directly to me. One of the things that we found for a successful application is having city taxes paid and blight taxes paid. If you have any outstanding on property that you own, any outstanding city taxes or blight taxes, your application will be denied until that is taken care of. Please have your proposal. Please have a proposal. The city wants to see property developed. So if you were to apply for a property and say, I'm not sure what I want to do, but I want to buy it, more than likely the city is going to deny it. They want to see someone with a plan that knows how much, who has an idea of the estimate of the development costs and timeline, and also your funding sources. So if you don't have these, you will, that will delay your application. Someone from the office will have to contact you to get this information. If you're buying a property that's adjacent to a property you already own, please include in your application how you are using that adjacent property and how the new property will be, used in conjunction with the property you already own. You will not be able to get into these properties until the city approves to sell the property to you. I would suggest that you just anticipate that the properties will need everything. These properties most of these properties the city obtained through the properties that didn't sell at auction from Wayne County. So these properties are in poor condition prior to them being foreclosed on. The previous owner did not maintain them. So they're in very poor condition. However, like I said, you won't be able to get in. So just anticipate what those development costs will be. I just have a couple of pages of the application. The application includes an ID number. So say, for example, you start your application and you have to stop, excuse me, and then come back to it. You're able to, with this ID application number, you're able to get back into your application and complete it. The application is good for 30 days. If you do not complete the application within 30 days, the application will expire and you will have to start over. Again, this is just a sample of the application, whether it gives you an area to check whether it's new construction, rehab, or demolition, or you're going to beautify the lot. This is the funding page that I spoke of. So, So be sure that you're able to say how much cash you have on hand. Loan timeline is here. So not that the city wants to know what you have in your bank account, but make sure the money that you say that you have will cover not only the acquisition of the property, but the development of the property as well. And the city is very interested because unfortunately, a lot of these are in bad condition. So the city wants to see that you will first secure it. If landscaping is necessary, that you will do that in the winter, you will shovel the snow. Again, the purchase process takes anywhere between 4 and 5 months because it is a process that the applications come into our department, Detroit Building Authority. However, the approval of the applications are by several departments. This does take time for them to review it. Once the application is approved, you will be sent an offer letter. Once you contact the broker, once the price is agreed upon, he will send you a purchase agreement. At that time, you will have to return that to the office with 10% earnest money deposit. The sale will have to go to council for approval. then the schedule, once we have council certified resolutions returned, the deed is drafted, scheduled, closing is scheduled, and the property is sold. So like I said, it does take about 4 to 5 months. What should you do prior to the closing? Secure closing funding, obtain title commitment. It's not a requirement, but it's strongly, heavily suggested. Again, these properties came from Wayne County, so title may or not be clear. So you do want to understand that before you purchase the property. It would be a suggestion to get a survey of the property. Many times people think when they buy a retail store, for example, and there is a parking lot right adjacent to the store, that they're assuming that the lot is part of the transaction, and oftentimes it's not. It could be a 2 or 3 separate parcel numbers. So understand what you're buying and get a survey. And if you don't get one before, please, I would suggest you get one shortly thereafter. The type of deed issued by the city is quit claim deed. Properties are sold sold as is, whereas. A couple of examples I have, 14600 East 7 Mile is a 1-story building. I have some pictures here, front view and side view here. The building sits on 8,150 square feet of land. The building is 7,912 square feet with a value of $59,350. So in this case, if you were to apply for this building, let's say, you would make an offer. Many times, unless the building is being marketed, there is no price listed. So you have to make a best guess estimate. And the city wants to see that you understand there is some value with that property. The city doesn't sell land for $100. So if you were to see a building, you don't know what the value is. The value, the city doesn't want to see that you're going to offer $1,000. The land is more than 1,000. So the city wants to see that you have some understanding. You don't have to offer and if it is being marketed, you don't necessarily have to offer the amount that the price is listed, but you do have to show that you've done your research again on what the development costs may be. You understand there is value in there and you have a very good development plan. 14612 East 7 Mile is the vacant lot adjacent to the building I just mentioned. That property is 21,807 square feet with a value of $32,710. Just a couple of more, 14809 is a building. I did the overview. That property has land square foot of 4,300. Building is 2,400. The value is $30,000. Another one, 9106 Van Dyke. You see here, we do a field survey of all of the properties. So I'm not sure if this building is actually occupied now. If it is, we have sent this property over to the law department. I would say that these are just properties that the city is highlighting. If you are interested in any of these, please have a detailed plan of what you're going to do. The city does not sell property when there's speculation, the city believes. So have a detailed plan, even if the city doesn't want you to spend money prior to acquiring the property, such as getting, architectural plans or drawings, but they do want you to know what you plan on doing. If you have a team, you can list the team in your application. One more, 91112 Van Dyke. Land is 55,067 square feet. There's no building and the value is 7,600. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jill, for taking us through that overview of DBA process, as well as showcasing those properties. We're going to go into a question and answer portion for those that are on the call who may have questions for you. So if there's anyone on the call that has a question for Ms. Bryant, you can feel free either to raise your hand or press *6 to unmute yourself. And we will. Are there any questions out there?
Hi, Ken. I have a question.
Greetings, Zara. Sure.
This is Imam Ali Fuskic. I'm kind of interested for first building the sister shows, but I couldn't follow up with the address. If she can repeat the first building, the picture that she showed with the price on somewhere 7 Mile Road.
The first building? Let me see.
The first one.
I think it was 14600 East 7 Mile.
I think the different the picture than that. That was value 50 to 59,000, I think.
Yeah, that might have been the first one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That one. What is that one?
Yeah, 14600 East 7 Mile.
Let me take the address. 14600.
Yes, East 7 Mile.
Thank you very much. I'll take a look around.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
And thank you, Kayana, for inviting me to this meeting.
Welcome. Thanks for joining.
You're always doing great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
Hello, this is Doug Mobley. May I ask a question, please?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
you might want to.
Hi, Jill. I wanted to ask you, I know specifically you were showing us examples in a certain area, but if you are just interested in properties throughout the city in general, there's a particular property that I know of. I can't locate the address and so forth. And I was just wondering if you could give me any assistance on just how to identify it and how to approach the city if you just don't know.
Yes, absolutely. So what I would suggest you do is go to this website, detroitmi.gov/properties. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I would advise that you go to this website, detroitmi.gov/properties. In the middle, it says Development Opportunities Map. Click on that map. If you know like an adjacent property address, you can enter that address and find it that way. And another way you can do, click on the map, and then once you go in there, it has like, oh my goodness, I think it says tools, or no, it has data layer. When you click on data layer, you can also click on publicly owned properties. And I think there's a slot for you to click on vacant land and buildings. You click on that, and then all of the city-owned properties will come up on a map. And that's a way to help you search as well.
Okay. I do know the exact intersection. It sits right on the corner of an intersection. So if I use that development opportunities map, will I be able to kind of locate the street locations and then go that way?
Yep, you can. Yes.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. And I think I heard you, and I just wanted to confirm. You said if I know the adjacent address, I can locate it that way as well.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you can. Yep. Just click in enter the adjacent address. That address will come up just like a map, with the grids. And then you can click on the adjacent properties around it to find the address you're looking for.
Okay, question asked and answered. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I see a hand from Janelle Land. You may unmute and ask your question.
Yes, I apologize. I got on this call late. I am a community partner, and I don't know if this has anything to do with community partners, or is this just something that's in general for this specific district? This program, I got in the last end of it. I really apologize.
Oh, no, that's okay. I don't know. I might be speaking out of turn, so it says something. I'll let you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining, Ms. Land. This is a conversation for some of the development opportunities in District 3. So whether you're a community partner, a business owner, or just a prospective business owner looking to find a brick and mortar opportunity in District 3 or the city, we're just really educating around the process, as well as the different resources that are available to assist with individuals in the purchasing. So if you fit into that category and in any way, you're in the right room. And this also is being recorded. So you'll have an opportunity to reach out for the recording to catch the information prior to you joining.
That
shared.
was the next question. Thank you.
And also, for those of you that are joining us virtually, there's a chat box feature that we have available on the Zoom platform that Muhit Abdul has been putting some great links available for you that were mentioned in the presentation. So please feel free to utilize the chat box feature to navigate and look at some of those links that are in that chat box. And also my telephone information and contact will also be placed. So if you have any future or further information, you can reach out. So thank you. I hope that answered all your questions. Do we have any other questions in the room for Ms. Bryant before we move forward with talking more about the resources that are in the room for those looking for?
Ms. Bosch
It's
has
just that I'm having a very hard time hearing you, Kiana. It's very difficult to hear you.
Okay, is that better? Okay, I hope that if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up if that works. Okay, so I hope that this is clear. I hope that all of you can hear me, and I'll do my best to project a little bit louder if needed for those that need to hear me a little bit more. So Ms. Bosch, did you have a question for the call?
This presentation. The questions that I have aren't really related to purchase, but they are factors that will either attract or deter prospective entrepreneurs from considering locating in District 3. There have been 2 instances along Van Dyke, one of which is a storefront that is open and dangerous. In its prime, it had been a chiropractor office with living quarters above. It is located on Van Dyke between Lance and Emory. It is a very dangerous building because it's also had a fire. So in spite of our many community requests to have that building raised, there doesn't seem to be an active addressing of those concerns. And then secondly, in the parking lot of what used to be the Duchess Adult Use, further south on Van Dyke between Emory and 7 Mile, somebody dumped humongous loads of earth. There are approximately 3 mounds of dirt that are equivalent to the height of buildings. So that would be the equivalent of a 2-story building. The mounds of dirt have been there for at least now going on 2 years. The mounds are now sprouting weeds, and it's not only unsightly, but we are very concerned that the mounds might contain some toxic materials. Otherwise, why were they dumped on this parking lot? So I'm not sure if this is a purview of Detroit economic growth or not, but it certainly is a factor in our concerns about promoting Van Dyke as a safe and attractive, vibrant corridor. It's also Van Dyke from 8 Mile to 7 Mile is a traditional Main Street overlay district, which is just another factor for trying to get some action on those 2 situations, because both sites that I mentioned are within the TMSO designation.
Thank you, Pat, for that. I'll follow up with our environmental department in regards to the mound piece. I do know that they do have that, and I can find out where they are currently with that status. And we can always speak offline in regards to any of the other concerns that you do have in regards to that. So did you have any questions for Ms. Bryant directly?
No, not directly at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we transition, I just want to see if there's any other questions for Ms. Bryant while we have her in the room. before we transition to our other presenters because we want to be mindful of time. Okay, if not, thank you so much, Ms. Bryant, for that presentation and that information on the process of purchase. And your contact information is shared. Also, thank you for the questions that were asked as it relates to just wanting to gain some more information and understanding in regards to what and how to move forward with process. I will turn it back over to my colleague, Mohit Abdul, District 3 Business Liaison, so he can further introduce our District 3 resources on the call. Thank you, Mohit.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Jill, for a great presentation that covered a lot of good stuff. So I would like to go back to our resource provider. I would like to thank Jason Bernard from Invest Detroit for being flexible to go on first and share the resources. I will share his contact information for whomever attended the meeting later after his presentation. I will share his information. At this time, I will call upon Mr. John Schoeniger, Loan Fund Manager for Detroit Development Fund, to share their resources that they provide from DDF. John, you have about 5 to 7 minutes to do your presentation.
Thank you, Mohit. And I appreciate the opportunity, and good afternoon, everybody. Yes, my name is John Schoeniger. I am Loan Fund Manager at Detroit Development Fund. In many ways, actually quite similar to Invest Detroit. We make loans all over the city of Detroit, and in some cases also Highland Park and Hamtramck, but certainly in District 3. Similar to Invest Detroit, we're interested in doing real estate transactions as well as small business transactions. The loans that we make are between $50,000 and $250,000, so somewhat smaller than Invest Detroit. If the project is modest in scope, we can finance the whole thing. And if it's larger, we can play a supporting role. And we often collaborate with Invest Detroit, as well as many other community lenders in the city of Detroit. We are open to a variety of uses of our funds, including acquisition, rehab, new construction. We can bridge sources that might have to wait until a project is completed. We can do subordinate debt and fill gaps that the first lien lender might not be able to do. Our mission is fairly straightforward. We want to create living wage jobs for Detroit residents, and we want to activate underutilized or vacant real estate within the city of Detroit. One of the things that we do that's a little bit unusual is we can provide financing for the developer, property owner, person or entity, and we can also provide financing for a tenant that might occupy that space. Sometimes that's the same person or people that own the real estate and then have an operating company within the space, but it could also be an unrelated third party who wants to enter into a lease agreement with the developer of the property. Our loans are fairly short-term in nature. So the underlying philosophy at DDF is we don't mind coming into a deal early, but we also like to get out fairly early. The reason for that is if you put all our money in a big pile, it's really not that much. And so we need to reuse it over and over. So what that really means in fewer words is that I'm limited to a 7-year term. That doesn't mean that we can't spread the payments over a longer period of time if that's required, typically up to 15 or 20 years, but I need an exit in 7 years or less. Typically, that means the project is qualified for bank financing within some period of time. So that would mean that the loan to value within 7 years would be acceptable to a regulated lender. It means that the cash flow from the property would be acceptable to a regulated lender. And it means that your personal financial condition would be acceptable to a regulated lender as a guarantor. So what that doesn't mean is all those things need to be present when the loan is made. We just have to agree that we can get there within some reasonable period of time. So I guess that is the high level view, Cliff Notes. And again, thanks for the opportunity to meet you all and talk to you about what DDF does.
Thank you so much, John, for coming on and sharing the resources that DDF provides. Attendees here today, we will have a question and answer session at the end of all the presentation from our speakers. Then you will have opportunity to ask questions. If you want, you can also use the chat function in the Zoom link in the Zoom meeting and ask your question. So now I would like to call upon Brittany Bushwick, Senior Community Assistance Team Test Specialist for Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Brittany. Brittany, you can unmute yourself. Okay. So I believe Brittany, we maybe lost her. Hopefully she will get back. I do see her unmuted.
Sure. Brittany, can you hear us? Seems like she can't hear us. I'll give her a text and we can come back to Brittany.
Just said that it's going to drop off and log back on to see if that addresses the sound issue. So we can go on to the next speaker and maybe that will work out.
Okay. So now at this time, I would like to call upon Catherine Frazier, Associate Director of Real Estate at the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. Catherine.
Catherine, you're on mute. Can you hear us? There we go.
Good afternoon. My apologies. I'm not sure exactly what was happening with Zoom, but it just kicked me out and it's taken me about 3 or 4 minutes to turn my video on and unmute. So I don't know if that's my side or maybe something that's also happening with the other speakers as well. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Catherine Frazier, Associate Director of Real Estate and Financial Services. I see Brittany has just logged on as well. Brittany, would you like me to continue or do you want to go ahead? You want me to continue? Okay, great, perfect. And then you can follow up afterwards. I think it's a good segue to go that way. So I am Associate Director of Real Estate within the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. I work on projects on the east side of Detroit and also within Eastern Market. I want to just, I feel like these types of D3 meetings are going to be information overload to all of you. So the first thing that I want to do in specifically talking about tax abatements and incentives associated with any kind of a development project or business project. I want to take you through tax abatements. Did I lose you all? Are you there? Okay, sorry. My screen keeps flashing on and off. So I want to talk you through, the first thing is go to share my screen and give you the source and the location as to where the information is that I'm going to be talking to you about related to tax incentives and different kinds of projects, incentives that the city of Detroit and our authorities can be able to help bring into the project. And then I'm happy to answer any kind of specific questions from there. So there's Mohit, I believe I can, and Lily, I can share my screen. I just want to make sure that
Yep.
it
Yes.
is possible. Okay. The first page here, and I'm gonna I'm gonna share my actual like dgc.org. It's that simple and that straightforward. But sometimes with all of our various websites, we can get many clicks away. So there's right under here, advantages, tax incentives. And I'm walking you through this all. My apologies if it's too rudimentary. I just know that there are times in which I also, I'm like, where is it on that page? So we're here at tax incentives as we talk through. I'm just showing you how to navigate it on your own and to be able to go and find it yourself. On this page, there are 8 or 9 different tax abatements here that are available within the city of Detroit that we can potentially provide. You can click on them and it will show different information. The other 2 items that are really key and helpful and answer many of the typical questions that may come up. You're experiencing my slow loading time of whatever's happening with my computer at the moment, so forgive me. This is a map that's going to show up here that hopefully I'll come back to it once it's loaded. That's the second thing. And the third thing is this tax incentive how-to guide. And I'm going to actually switch to another screen and talk you through this one, but I just wanted to show you where it's at. It's a little bit buried on this tax abatement page, so you have to scroll down and get it. It is 17 pages of very detailed information. So dgc.org, tax incentives, the high-level overview of all of the various tax abatements are here. And then this is a handy tool right here of, I want to know, is there a tax abatement in my,
we're gonna have orange candles for tomorrow.
in my district, my neighborhood. You come right here, you can type in the address and you can see what is going on. And all of these different layers in here will talk through existing districts and or tax abatement districts or incentives that are happening within the city of Detroit. So again, a fabulous little lookup tool. My apologies for jumping straight into the practicality, but I think it's really helpful, especially because the other page that I'm going to show you is pretty pretty technical in terms of words as well. So now I'm going to jump back up to the high level and talk to you through this presentation. I wanted to first make sure you all could be able to see it and find out where you can find this how-to guide. And this is where a lot of our individual details are at and can be found. So typically, we'll go right to the next one again, is this how-to guide and the spaces of where it is. The next page I want to talk through, again, this is why I am sharing where you can go and find this information yourself. So typically, even on these projects that and these properties that Jill Bryant took us through and highlighting them, there is a potential that they may look at and be qualified or be eligible for various of tax abatements. And a tax abatement in general looks at if you buy a property that can qualify for a tax abatement, the improvements that you make on that and the value of the improvements that you make on your property, there's a potential for a percentage of them to be abated for a period of time. And so It's like most simply put, it's a way to have a discount on the future taxable value of your projects based off of investment and monies and improvements that you've made to the property. So there are 8 or 9 different kinds. Again, I don't have the time here to talk through all of them, but on our list on our website, you can go through, and I'm also happy to talk through specific projects with you, or properties that you're looking at or considering, could this qualify for an abatement? And really the goal of the abatement is to help improve the environment, economic impact, and the economic development environment within the city of Detroit. It's often used to help for job creation and for improvements in the local government, in the local economy, where there wouldn't typically be, the development might not happen otherwise because of either the costs related to establishing and expanding new businesses or new housing, as well as the already existing tax burden that is already on any given property that the homeowner or business owner may be experiencing. So again, when you look at this, to go through what is a tax abatement, if we look at this chart here, this green bars along the end, along the bottom, represent on any property what the current taxes may be, and how they would happen over, and how they would increase over time. When you look at the blue and yellow chart on these bars here, it's saying if a property was invested, had a significant investment in the physical, whether it was expanded or improved, how would those improvements or new construction or new investment on that property, how would it increase the taxes? So and that's represented in the blue and the yellow. The yellow of the chart represents if a tax abatement was applied on a specific property, what is the opportunity for a tax savings on that investment within after it has been applied and made into the property. And so the yellow chart bars represent that potential for a potential tax savings on that property. You'll see that the taxes overall do increase, and the new taxes would, there's a percentage and a portion of them that will remain. But again, it's a opportunity to do for an improvement, for an investment to happen within the city, for a job creation that could come into that space and place, and for an overall revitalization of that site and or spot. The next slide I want to just talk through is, okay, so how do I get one? Where is it? Typically the abatements are a two-step process of establishing an abatement district and then applying for a certificate. And then from there, the abatement also has to be approved by the State Tax Commission. Again, I'm just going quickly and at a high level view. All of this information is on our website, where I had talked through and explained that to you all. The next statement thing I want to just briefly talk through is it's an involved process for establishing. Again, remember I said it's a two process of establishing a district of tax abatement district and then pulling the certificate. And so the district level, there are a number of entities and departments that go through establishing the district as well as establishing the certificate. Sometimes city processes can feel as though documents are submitted to the city and they're lost in the space. But in actuality, there's a number of different departments and entities that are touching them. And we are trying to lay that all out here and make it as transparent as possible for anyone who is going through the process. So again, there's the district level as well as the certificate process for the a tax payment. Finally, there are checklists of documentations and forms that you need to be able to be submitted. There is a checklist that are reviewed for DGC to do a financial underwriting and a project evaluation to determine viability and fit. And then there's also the requirements of if there is a consideration of a brownfield incrementing, brownfield incrementing tax financing. So it's a brownfield TIF potential on a project. So our real estate team works very closely with our Detroit Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for projects considering a brownfield TIF, which I am also happy to provide information on that for you all as well. The next item is the submission for the city submission. There's a district level requirements of a letter and a petition. And again, all of these documents that you would have to fill out are available through our website, or the certificate petition, which has also, again, a number of documents that are needed for applying for this process. It is detailed, and there are a number of steps along the way, but I would ask you to please not be intimidated or overwhelmed by all of the information that I am sharing with you. There are a number of DEGC staff dedicated to helping people through and entities through this process and walking you through step by step and helping you talk through this required documents. Finally, and pretty fairly importantly, in the evaluation of tax abatements, there is it's all based on if the project has a economic need, and if there's going to be a net positive impact financially to the city of Detroit for your project. They are not, tax abatements are not standard here, hand them out, like they're not a by right, but they are determined by what your project would be. So the items that we take a look at and evaluate is what is the total project investment, what is the economic impact both on the community and the city as whole. Is your project and whatever you're wanting to do consistent with the city's goals for its comprehensive plans, either for that neighborhood or the city at large? And then Ms. Jill Bryant mentioned earlier on her discussion about having any outstanding flight tickets or tax clearances, that qualification and requirement also applies for tax abatements. So as long as you are a business and entity and or individual in good standing with the city of Detroit as evaluated by not having outstanding flight tickets or outstanding flight tickets and or having everything related to your taxes in order, those need to be, and if there was anything that came up there, those need to be addressed beforehand. And then typically we're looking at what's the job creation potential of a project. And then if there is going to be, if you're looking at doing residential housing, whether that's rental, adhering to the city's recommended requirements of 20% of the units being at least at 80% area median income, meaning that the rent levels could fall within a certain threshold based on HUD representatives. And then finally, when we look at what is a project, we're looking at, is it financially and economically viable? Does it have a financial need? Does it involve a substantial investment to the city? And then from there, depending on depending on the answers to those questions of looking at the length of the term, and then the final review would be based off of on exceptions that are made for either federally regulated housing, affordable units, and then if there are assumptions being made on any of the projects that are outside of the market standards, those are some considerations that we would take into fact as well. And so when I said that there's a whole host of documents and information here, and that even just talking through this, I know at sometimes it could can be slightly overwhelming. Rest assured, we have wonderful staff members who are here and can help talk through, interested parties and seeking out resources and incentives along the way. So we are available via email, we are available by phone. More recently, we are just recently coming up and starting to attend some meetings in person. And so I'm gonna pause here and either pass it on to Brittany to go on, or
yeah, that's fine.
Questions.
That's fine, Catherine. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for this great presentation. And I'll make sure to share any more information that anybody on the tax abatements piece, and I will share your contact information as well. So yeah, so thank you. Brittany, yeah, please go ahead.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I apologize. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm glad that things are working now. It's perfect that I have the opportunity to present after our friends at DDF and Invest Detroit and Catherine over at DGC, because we are often the step that comes after those initial conversations with senior financing and incentives at the city level. I'm with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and I'm excited to be participating today. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation focuses on a variety of areas, community development being one of them. So beyond the business recruitment, international business recruitment, and the Pure Michigan ads, we do have a community development department that looks to support real estate projects, both public and private real estate projects, as well as provide technical assistance to organizations or individuals that are interested in creating change in their community. So we have a variety of programs that are available through the community development department. The technical assistance programs that I mentioned, these are really designed to serve community development organizations and local municipalities. We do have a small amount of small business support. It's mostly technical assistance, although every once in a while we do have a small pot that we can roll out in funding. The State Historic Preservation Office is located within MEDC's Community Development Department, but most notably and probably most relevant for this group is our real estate development tools. As everyone else, we have limited tools or limited resources available. And so we really try and focus those tools in a way that's going to have the greatest impact. And so we come up with 3 primary goals that we look to meet with every project. So we're looking for high impact, quality place, and financial need in each project that we do. So high impact would be projects that are located in downtown or traditional commercial districts. So in Detroit, that's obviously the greater downtown area, but also the 10 priority planning areas or strategic neighborhoods, similar to Invest Detroit's investments, targeted investments. We want to support projects that have been identified through local planning activities and through local community engagement activities, like the framework plans that have occurred in the various neighborhoods. We want to see that the community financially supports the project. So leveraging incentives like the abatements that Catherine mentioned is going to be important as a financial contribution on the city's behalf. And oftentimes, we're increasingly looking for opportunities to support emerging developers or those who are looking to enter into the development world. We're looking to support projects that create quality place. So while we're not creating lots of jobs, we're making Michigan communities more attractive to talent. And the more talent that chooses to stay in Michigan, the more attractive Michigan is for major employers. So we're really looking to create quality place in each of the projects that we do. So we're looking for buildings that are appropriate to the neighborhood, the appropriate scale to the neighborhood. Ideally, if we're creating more density as far as mix of uses or multiple stories or adding residential to a site and making it more active 24/7, that's ideal. You know, projects that promote a mix of income, so a mix of affordability levels to really create vibrant multi-dimensional communities is important. And even better if you can look for ways to make it sustainable. And then finally, you know, we don't want to replace traditional banks or community development financial institutions like Invest Detroit and DDF. And so we want to make sure that property owners are maximizing all other available debt that's available to them, that they've explored all the other sources like the ones that Catherine mentioned, that there's a demonstrated financial need, and that the development team is putting in some cash of their own, usually about 10% of the total project cost, although there's some opportunity to be flexible for emerging developers there. So the program that is most often sought by developers is our community revitalization program. This is a gap financing tool. So after you've exhausted all the other sources, possible sources, so your equity, debt from a lender, and then any other local programs. If there's a remaining gap that exists, then sometimes we can use the CRP program to fill that gap for gaps as small as $100,000 and as big as $10 million. This will cover up to 20% of your hard costs. So hard costs being things like demo, construction, either rehab or new construction, furniture and fixtures, architectural and engineering. What we won't cover are like things like your developer fees, acquisition, taxes, insurance, things of that nature. We can structure that gap financing in the form of a grant or a loan. It really depends on the size of the ask and the ability of the project to pay us back. So we can certainly get flexible. Catherine also mentioned some brownfield tax increment financing. This essentially reimburses the developer over the course of many years for eligible expenses associated with maybe demolition or cleaning up a contaminated site, often not as often used for smaller projects. And then because we have a few community development organizations and nonprofit organizations on the call, I also want to lift up our Public Spaces Community Places program. This is a matching program. So if you identify real estate or a site that is owned either by the city, county, or a nonprofit organization, we can, if you've identified a way to activate that site, trailheads, parks, community theaters, community centers, you dream it, we've probably done it, dog parks, then so you do your crowdfunding and we'll match up to $50,000 to help activate that space. So lots of interesting things that you can do there. And I encourage you to check out our website. Next slide, myplace.org. You can find all the information on myplace.org. It's a fairly easy site to navigate, but if there are specific questions or you're just like, where the heck do I find this information? You're more than welcome to contact me. This is my cell phone number. And my email address here, and I'll also pop it in the chat. I'm here in Detroit. I'm local, I'm not in Lansing, and so I'm always excited to see what cool projects folks are dreaming up and see if there might be ways for MEDC to support or for me to help connect you to other service providers in the city that may be able to support in our place. So thank you for including us, and happy to take questions at the end, as I'm sure Mickey is planning on doing here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brittany, so much for that presentation. I believe our next presenter is here. We will go into Miss Juliana. She on.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm assuming I can be heard clearly. And we can move forward. All right, thank you. So again, my name is Juliana Perry, and I am a Vice President and Relationship Manager with Fifth Third Bank. And in the ecosystem of finance, I am considered, again, the traditional lender. Often I might partner with some of the other folks you've already talked to or heard from, rather, with Invest Detroit and Detroit Development Fund. And a lot of times when we're presenting together in situations like this, we call it the ladder of financing, because there are some deals whereby they're just a little bit too raw for me to get engaged in, and my partners, Jason and John, can get in there and do the deal, and maybe in a couple of years, I can come in and take them out. But what I'd like to first clarify specifically is where I am in the marketplace. So again, I deal with traditional financing tools, and those would be loans, specifically that we're talking about real estate. We're talking about mortgages, but those mortgages would be to owner-occupied properties only. So I know there may be some developers on the line, and today in the space that we may be in the 5 million and under project, right now, Fifth Third Bank doesn't have a local team that would aggressively do that, but things are changing. We're looking at working with smaller developers in the city. We're working with specific projects. And I have a partner on the phone in Tanya Rose that is from our community economic development area. And she's integral and part of that process, as well as specifically in the development of the D3 neighborhood initiatives with Fifth Third. So again, with that said, again, I'm looking at traditional financing for owner-occupied properties. What does that mean? That means that the business owner who also owns the real estate has the business operating specifically out of that building, and they occupy 51% or more of the space. So again, that would qualify as an owner-occupied transaction that I can get engaged in with the tools that I have available. So with that said, I have both conventional real estate tools as well as SBA specific. So I will go through those programs briefly and then allow Tanya to have a few minutes to really wrap up what we've been doing in the area in District 3 relative to small business lending. And maybe there's something she can share at this point regarding our development initiative. So again, moving forward, there's really two types of programs that I work with. And I'm not sure if my hosts also were able to get my attachments that I sent on SBA lending. If that's so, please, if someone would put them on the screen and we can talk more specifically about SBA lending initially. So SBA.
I don't know that we have them, but I do want to just point out that we have a couple other speakers to follow and we're running a little bit short on time. So I would say if you can share the best way for people to follow up and see that information or get in contact with you, that would be great so that we can have a place to direct folks after this call since we don't have the flyers on hand.
Sure. I did send them out. So let's see who, Lily and Kayana. I sent them there. So, you know, again, I was looking at my time. My presentation is closer to 10 minutes, but I will do a short version. Again, SBA lending is really utilized to be an economic driver within our community. For eligible transactions, and I would say, again, please talk to us more specifically about eligibility. I have an eligibility specialist here with me at Fifth Third Bank. In Kathy McCart. So we will advise early on if there's specific items that may make it, you know, the project not eligible. So with SBA, we have both 504 lending programs and 7A. Again, I can give you more information on each of those programs if you reach out to me. And then the conventional terms that we would offer would be typically a 10 up to a 25-year amortization and a term of 5 to 10 years as well. With those projects, again, we are really looking at the business owner's cash flow from the business that they're generating, not rental income, because that, again, leans itself more towards an investment real estate deal, which we really don't do in that space. Happy to have more conversations with you. Over the years, I've worked with Kenyatta and Olga, so that goes back many, many years with the DEGC, as well as partners. So I'll save a minute or two for Tanya to wrap up and talk about our D3 initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Perry. I'd like to call up now Amanda Saab. She's the Small Business Services Director, Techtown Detroit.
I think that Ms. Rose was going to speak from Fifth Third before we transition.
I'll make it really quick.
Okay,
I partner with Juliana in the community development space, and Fifth Third had made a commitment to give $5 million over 5 years, and we're very invested in the G7 or District 3 area. And if you need to find out some additional information on it, I did put my information in the chat function, and thank you, Kiana, for allowing us to be part of this. But any deals that we typically are unable to do, we partner with many of the lenders that are on the phone today, be it Invest Detroit, Detroit Development Fund, First Independence. We've given substantial investments in those organizations so they can do some of the deals that we cannot. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ms. Rose, for sharing. Amanda?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda Saab. I'm the Director of Small Business Services at Techtown Detroit. And as you get all excited about investing in your real estate property and growing your business, you might need some additional business support. And that's where our team comes in through our suite of programs that help support small businesses in Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck. So whether that's through our retail services program, which is a 10-week course, and we just wrapped and 5 of our businesses won $5,000 grants, or through our 313 Strong coaching program, or if you just need some advice for one-offs, having open office hours or ask an expert. So I'll drop a link in the chat, being mindful of our time. And if there is anything we can be supporting you with, please be sure to access our services. We're here to help and see your businesses grow and thrive within the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I would like to call upon now Ms. Robin Towie, Director of Real Estate Solutions at the IFF.
Good afternoon, everybody. So we've had a lot of CDFI partners on the call, and nobody's mentioned IFF yet, and we are yet another CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution. IFF has been around for over 30 years, serving the Midwest with a Detroit office since 2014. We're different in a couple of ways. The most significant is that we only serve nonprofit corporations. So if you're a for-profit business on the call, this may be time to say I'm done with the session for today. But so the number one differentiator is we only serve nonprofits. And then the second biggest differentiator for IFF is that we are a full service real estate consulting firm to nonprofits. So I want to start with our lending side first. As a CDFI, we are a full service lender doing real estate commercial lending for nonprofits. We lend from $10,000 to $6 million. And we finance anything that really can be capitalized. So, you know, your standard real estate acquisition, new construction, rehabilitation, but we also do pre-development lending. We do bridge lending to capital campaign pledges. We do leasehold improvement loans. So if you're building out leased tenant spaces, and we do furniture and fixtures and equipment. So if you need a school bus for your clients, if you need kitchen equipment or outdoor play equipment, so any kind of furniture, fixtures, and equipment. We were designed from the beginning to be different because we're very much focused on serving communities that have historically been disinvested, have a lot of history of redlining, which means appraised values can be very difficult to work with because your project costs what it costs. And in a disinvested community, it's hard to get a solid appraised value if you're lending on a loan to value perspective. And so instead, we lend on a total project cost basis, requiring at least 5% equity. So we will lend up to 95% of total project costs. We're a lender that lends on the ability to repay debt. So that's how we underwrite. So while we love appraisals, and if you're required to get one for your own knowledge or for another lender in the deal, we love to see it. But what we're most interested in knowing is that you have the capacity to repay the debt. And so we're looking at your financial history, preferably audited financial history, but we can work with 990s if that's what you have. We will likely require an audit going forward. We look at your programs, your demand for programs. Do you have a waiting list to get into your program? How much has your program grown? Well, who's your board of directors? Do you have the right board for the programs?
Robin, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop you because I think we need to keep it a little bit high level as we come to the close of our program here. So I'd love
All
to
right, so
be
I'm
able
going to
share
switch then
how they
to our
can
real
get
estate
that level of
consulting.
detail.
So I'm going to drop while I'm talking 2 links to IFF in the chat. One is about our lending, the other one's about our real estate services. So in addition to lending, we're a full service real estate consultant available to help nonprofits from that early stage feasibility of, we know we need a building and we just don't know how to think about it. We don't know how much space we need. We don't know what we can afford. We really need somebody to help us figure out and help us align our programs to our real estate. From there, we help with anything from site search and due diligence to help and work with your broker to find, secure, and negotiate a contract, help you through due diligence, through owner's representation, or basically project management for design and construction, helping with you choosing the right architect and contractor for your project and assuring that your project is delivered on time, on schedule, and on budget as your representative, helping you to manage the architect and contractor, realizing that real estate is a very technical language. So we're kind of a translator in many ways, helping you understand the decisions that have to be made to set the project up and all along the way. So that is very short. I'm very sorry I didn't have more time, but thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Robin. Appreciate the time today. We have one more speaker from Capital Impact. Elizabeth, yes.
Sure. Hi, thanks, Abdul. I know we're right at the end of our time, so I'll do like 3 bullet points. I'm Elizabeth Luther from Capital Impact Partners. I oversee our programmatic work in Detroit. Capital Impact is another community development financial institution, nonprofit lender that works nationally and has set of programs in Detroit. I oversee a program that provides training and technical assistance to real estate developers of color. And then we also have some real estate lending products. So I'm happy to drop my contact information in the chat. Feel free to reach out about any of those items. Our website is capitalimpact.org. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. All right, so with that, we are at the end of our presentations today. Now we'll open the floor for question answer. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody have any question. Yeah, Kiana, go ahead.
Yeah, I think for those of you that are on the call, if you don't have a question now, you may follow up and have a question later. So we want to ensure that you have the information that was presented today. Like it was mentioned, this presentation was recorded. You can request for the recording of this virtual event and there, and also just gather the information of the presenters and reach out to them individually to connect further with them to support whatever initiatives that you are working with your business or nonprofit. So I just wanted to address that and conclude so we can stay on time. Also just thank all of our presenters for presenting the wealth of information that was shared on this call. This is the first time that we've done this, and we are really excited that just to gather everyone in the room to learn more about what's available for businesses and residents in the city of Detroit to further their mission and vision of development and how we can work together. And so that was the purpose and intention of this call. And we look forward to continue to share this information and support those in moving forward with their vision. So I want to thank my partners at DGC, as well as our other city departments and community partners that were on this call. We thank you, as well as the questions that were asked and shared. And for those of you that would like a recording, you can either reach out to myself, Kiana Sessoms, I put my information in the chat, or Mohit Abdul, his information is in the chat as well. And we would love to assist in making sure that you get this recorded. So if there aren't any other questions, I just want to thank all of you for attending and look forward to working with you to just bring more development in District 3 as well as the city. So thank you.